welcome to episode number 158 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We are recording on April 24th, 2022. My name is Eric, the host of the show, based in Southern Ontario. Apparently, I'm a hugger, target shooter, ham radio operator, and computer geek. Started a small preparedness company to help people get better prepared for at least 72 hours, if not longer.
And I'm Alan. I'm a safety trainer, first responder, security expert, master of disguise, and overall safety nerd.
Not a hugger.
Not a hugger.
Yeah. Nice to see you back, Ian.
And I'm Hughes from Nova Scotia. Oh, sorry. Hughes from Nova Scotia, Canadian Armed Forces veteran, firefighter, amateur rancher, recreational pilot, and prepper. I've been preaching and living the prepper lifestyle to varying degrees for the last decade. It used to be 6 years, but I guess I had to update that. So, yeah.
You are also a resident overachiever.
Yes.
We'll see.
And possibly the new Ian. Conspiracy theories happen now.
I'm Scott, a first responder from Ontario. I like learning things, and I worry about our fragile infrastructure.
And yes, we do have a StreamYard link.
And I'm Jeff. I'm based in Central Ontario. I'm a target shooter, ham radio operator, and general overall handyman.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brad from Eastern Ontario. Consider myself a part-time amateur prepper who's constantly trying to better myself.
All right. If you want to help support the show and keep the Canadian Prepper Podcast on the air, you can buy some swag. We've got the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and the tactical Velcro patch available at prepperpodcast.ca. All the proceeds help keep the lights on and the backup generator fueled.
And if you're enjoying the show, please take a few minutes and like us on Facebook, submit a review on iTunes. Also, we want your feedback, good, bad, and even just topics you want us to cover. You can either email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca or join us on the Discord server, where we have an entire thread dedicated just to topics.
All right. We've got some pricey content for you in this episode. We're going to start off with some recent news articles. Then we're going to update you on what we've done for our own preparedness since the last episode. Then we're going to get into the main topic, the next level in prepping gear. So let's move into the news, shall we?
Thank you, Ian, for putting all these in your notes and then not showing up tonight. I didn't have to do any work and just had to delete your name from the notes.
Well, Ian's here.
A few things that not I put in here. Biden administration has finally acknowledged that there are food supply issues. Spain has begun food rationing. Awesome. And so a string of food plant damages. So this includes processing facilities and distribution centers. So this is, over the last 3 or 4 months, there have been, I want to say 14 major fires / explosions at food processing or distribution centers. And the conspiracy theorist in me thinks that this is targeted, but I've also haven't done any research at all into whether or not this is just a normal thing and we're just hyper fixated on food supply and logistics. So I don't know whether this is abnormal or this is something that is weird, that we should be paying more attention to it.
So for me, kind of on the same topic, there's a local university here in Halifax, Dalhousie. They did a research showing that a report on the increase in food price. And they said that from 2021 to 2022, you're going to see an increase of $966 Canadian for a family of 4. That includes 2 teenagers, but with 3 young kids. That kind of falls in line with where I am now. And obviously we see the numbers for inflations, we see the percentages, but how much does that really add up in dollars? Well, it's basically almost $1,000, right? So that's gonna be hard for some people to swallow. So good piece of news, and it's actually tailored to the Canadian population here. So that's what I have for news there.
And on the whole topic of food, the farmers can't really grow anything without fertilizer. And in their infinite wisdom, Union Pacific Railway in the United States says they're about to start, quote, metering their rail traffic. And the farmers and other distributors are saying that could potentially cut fertilizer deliveries by as much as 20%. I guess they're basically saying there's an overload of rail traffic, and so they're metering what they send out, and it's only going to hurt even more on the food end of it by the sounds of it.
And fertilizers with
Now,
the
does that mean that they're? Yeah. Does that mean they're charging more to use the rail line, or charging at all now?
No, my understanding by they're saying metering is they're only giving a certain percentage of train traffic to different areas, like, moving vehicles and moving grains and fertilizers and fuel and all that, instead of, maybe one train having, 50% fuel and 20% something else. They're going to be cutting the numbers down and having the trains more diversified, but by doing that, they're cutting back on everything else. So,
yeah, that's going to suck for a lot of farmers around here.
Yeah,
it's going to suck for a lot of people everywhere.
I've been rather focused on Ukraine these days. I just had a friend who returned from there volunteering as a medic, and it sounds like it's every bit as bad as it's being made out to be. So it's anyway, that's been on my mind. Found a really interesting article talking about SpaceX, because they had donated a whole lot of equipment to keep internet going in Ukraine. They were subject to a Russian cyber attack. The articles I've read didn't release the technical details, which obviously we'd like to know, but it makes sense why they don't. But the Pentagon was very complimentary in their praise of the company's eye-wateringly fast response. Apparently a single line of code was able to undo all the jamming attack that was happening, so that's quite impressive. So that actually makes me really happy, sort of seeing that some of the infrastructure can actually fight back. We know Elon is a big supporter of this podcast, so I'll jump to an early shout out and thank him for all the Bitcoin he keeps sending to my wallet.
Somebody's got quick fingers for that one line of code.
Yeah. And also, Russia had threatened SpaceX. They blamed them for the sinking of that Russian warship, saying that they were using their satellites to help out Ukraine to pinpoint where their troops were and where to shoot and everything, and they had threatened to take them down. So kind of interesting that they even tried it.
Well, exactly. We're all aware of the threat of cyber attack, and the fact that you're actually hearing about it, like, oh, that is quite interesting.
Well, if you remember as well, a few weeks or a few months before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, or, special military operation, like they're calling it, the Russians actually used a weapon to knock a satellite out of space. So they were basically, I don't know if they were just testing it for themselves or trying to show their capability. But we know that they do have, and probably a lot of countries around the world, like China and US and whatnot, they have the capabilities of knocking these satellites out of space. So, there's always a possibility they could knock those satellites out of space as well, right? So.
Well, and any of those systems tend to create a whole lot of orbital debris that just puts more risk on all the other satellites. And I mean, it's such a crowded, crowded area.
Yeah, the space community was up in arms, not just because they did this test and they actually shot down a satellite, but by exploding it in space, it created all this debris that was basically threatening the International Space Station and a lot of the other satellites up there, right? So.
Oh, dear.
Interesting stuff. Yep. But, I think we might have to do another episode on something like that.
Good times, guys. Really good times.
It's always so cheery talking with you guys.
How about we lighten the mood a touch and move into what we've done lately for preps to make sure we're ready for, space invaders and such?
Let's see. I rolled around in a room full of puppies. Rode a unicorn for a while.
Here we go. Here come the rainbows and puppies.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you woke up.
Yeah, and I woke up and I did some outdoor spring work. I bought a few duplicate tools. A couple of cheap bow saws because I'd sooner have a couple of cheapies that I can give to people in need or scavenge for parts or whatnot. And thinking about what's going on in the world, I continued playing with some Faraday boxes, and they're finicky, silly little things. So I'm still wrestling, trying to perfect my the big one I'm working on.
I got some exterior house renos going on. Got some new siding going on in the next little bit, and 2 new windows went in here on Friday. Very happy about how they look. Sealing up the exterior of the house versus the cold and seasonal depending weather. Did a little bit of fuel rotation. I bought a new axe. It was on sale at Princess Auto. And I bought from Rapid Survival, I bought some more Berkey filters and a solar panel that I think, Eric, you were testing out, and I agreed to have that in my camper for the season. We're going to test that out before we go, probably next weekend. See how that works.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the nice little foldable solar panels. So
Yeah,
sure, it'll do you well, I'm sure.
Is that the same
I
one
was
that I
quite
have?
impressed with it.
Yep, it's the only one I sell, so I'm going to imagine.
Oh, yeah, they're fantastic. I absolutely love every second of that when I'm camping.
Sweet. Good.
Charge all my gear and then charge the battery packs during the day so that I can keep my equipment charged at night. Because apparently when I go camping, I need to watch movies. I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, that's a requirement, isn't it?
Yeah. But I love it.
Good.
I just did a little bit of food prep. I've started growing some garden items inside. Once it finally warms up. I mean, it was 17 here today. Beautiful day. It's supposed to be +3 on Wednesday. So still waiting for the warmer weather to come. Like Scott, I did a little bit of work on my Faraday box. Seems like every time I really want to get on it, something else pops up. And I did a crap load of firewood today. I got a couple of trailer loads wood on yesterday, and I've got a few more loads coming on Tuesday. So
for myself, earlier this year in February or so, I invested in a solar generator setup. So I've typically always relied on gas. Big fan of the Honda generators, but I invested in EcoFlow solar generator as well as some Renogy solar panels. So what I really love about this setup is that it's portable, it's discreet, it's renewable. And it's something we'll definitely be using as a family for off-grid adventures. We do have a travel trailer. We'll be able to use that, as well as we'll be clearing our new lot shortly, and then harvesting that wood and milling some wood for a cabin and whatnot. So more on that probably later this spring, summertime.
Awesome. Sounds like fun. For myself, survived COVID or the flu or whatever the hell you want to call it. Call it what you want. It sucked and made her through. Got the new antenna up. So there's 277 feet of wire now running along my property, and it's working fantastic.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. It's a lot of antenna. It's but I just finished getting it all set up today, and as soon as I got her plugged in, came into the shack here and fired up the radio, and first contact I made was Finland. So I was pretty happy with that.
Nice.
I think it's working.
Excellent.
So that was
I wish
cool.
I knew how to say congratulations in Finnish.
You can just say it in radio 73. There you go. And then some chimney work. So got our one chimney capped off because we redid our house a while ago with our layout and no longer have that fireplace. So it was a little drafty with that being open still. So that's all capped off. So we shouldn't be getting the drafts anymore. So that's good. And and then finished up a little computer nerd course there while battling the fun-filled COVID/flu/ whatever you want to call it. So got more techie knowledge in the brain now. So and apparently certified because they gave me a certificate for it. So yeah.
And I'm not going to go back any significant distance. I've been away for a few weeks, but a lot of working, a lot of family things. My latest thing for the homestead here is that I added a whole bunch of gym equipment. I got at a really good deal. So I've got more weight plates coming and a new bench and an elliptical machine, and it's all going to go in my fancy new garage.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of weight plates, does anybody know where I can get plates for a vest?
For a vest?
Everybody around here seems to be out of them. Like just a training vest.
You need the
Oh,
vest?
just lead weights?
Yeah.
Just go to a tire shop. and they can give you the lead weights that they take off tires. And I mean, if you want to, you can smelt them into whatever shape you want, or just tie them together with some duct tape, and they'll give you some quick, cheap weights.
There you go.
Or use sand.
Or use sand.
Well, I had thought of the sand thing, but I was looking more for the like the rucking vests that the other CPP uses to do their ruck challenges and whatnot. Those kinds of plates. I have the vest, but everybody around seems to be out of plates.
Wonder if Andrew from the other CPP would know.
Yeah, I was going to say
Well,
Andrew
I thought
Gavin
about
would probably
asking
have
him.
for that.
Yeah, maybe we'll reach out to him and see if he's got something for you. But with that, maybe we'll move into the main topic. We're touching on preps in the $100 to $5,000 range, and what we would want / need / purchase if we had the funds. So we will start out with Hughes.
Yeah, so I would, I mean, obviously this range of, $100 to $5,000 is pretty broad. But I would say, start by determining your budget. If you can start off with a lump sum, and if you're just starting into prepping, if you can start with a lump sum, great. And then if you can put some money aside every paycheck or use some of that money towards your prepping, it's a good way to go about it. Living by checklists to determine your prepping wants and needs and all that. But I would say I'm going to go back to what I purchased earlier this year, which was a solar generator. I mean, having the ability to power anything, right? So whether it be medical devices, electronics, flashlights, all that stuff, obviously very essential in a situation where you're off grid or a situation where you're out of power. And the one drawback that I always had with the gas generators, obviously, is if you run out of gas, the generator's no good at that point, right? Yep. And really, these solar generators have really come a long way in the last few years, especially in the last year. There's a lot of good brands out there, like Jackery, Blue Yeti, EcoFlow. There's a few other nice brands out there. But I mean, this is really something that you can get for a few $100, or you can spend way more than $5,000 on, right? So determining,
go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah. So really determining, and I mean, you can make your own at home. I mean, you can get some panels, you can use some 12-volt batteries. You can go to a junkyard and find, newer cars that have been in accidents and just buy the batteries off them for like $20 or $30, right? And you can make a pretty decent setup and for something that would fit your needs. And the great thing about, obviously, the solar stuff is that it's renewable, so you don't need to rely on fuel. The other thing too is that it's quiet. So obviously, if you're going to be running it, you don't want to draw attention to yourself. I don't care how quiet a generator is, even if it's a really quiet Honda. If nobody else around you is running a generator, that could really draw attention to yourself, right? And then lastly, having something that's portable. So if you need to buck out, being able to take that solar setup with you is great. I mean, it's nice to have something that's tied to your house, but that's going to be a whole home solution that you're not going to be able to move easily. So a setup like this obviously is more for camping, for a travel trailer, or if your house is out of power. So again, I would probably, one of the first things I would do is, obviously once take a look at food first and water and all kind of stuff. But if you're going to make one big purchase, this would probably be one of the first ones. Would be a solar generator, and then get 2 or 3 solar panels to be able to recharge the battery throughout the day. And some of the ones, like the one I got from EcoFlow, actually do pass through charging as well. So you can charge the solar generator with the solar panels as well as draw power from it at the same time. So not all of them do that, but that's a great option to have as well. So.
Yeah, the technology in solar has really come like an incredibly long way, even the last couple of years, as far as portability goes. It's definitely something that's high up on my list as well, because it's, like you said, you can pick it up, you can move it, you need power no matter where you're going. It's not strapped down to your house, so it can come with you, and you can use it in everyday activities too. It doesn't have to be just tucked away waiting for the whole shit at the fan scenario. You can use it on the family trips. You can use it in the backyard if you need to power something. You can move it around and use it for all kinds of things, which brings us back to what we always say: practice using your gear, so you know how to use it in a bad situation, right? So
Yeah, and the big thing too is we've gone from the lead acid batteries to the lithium, right? So that's come a long way as well. So obviously lithium is more expensive, but I mean it's lighter. The charge capacity, right? I don't know what the word is, but the amount of power you can put in the same amount of space is much greater. So I think that's really what makes these solar generators something worthwhile now, because this is not something we really could do with 12 volt, lead acid batteries, right? So, and these are running pure sine wave, which is a pretty big deal when you're looking at running medical equipment. So, I mean, if you're somebody or somebody in your family that needs a CPAP machine, this is something that you really need to look into as far as prepping, right? So,
yep. That's wild. The weight difference in lithium batteries versus the lead acid. I just got a couple of the lithium batteries for my ham gear, and when they showed up, like the box has to be empty. Like there's no way that there's a battery in here. But yeah, compared
to what you're expecting, yeah, definitely,
it's wild. Well,
you think of the lead acid battery jumper pack, where it's the size of a small microwave, versus the lithium ion ones that's the size of an old Discman maybe, or Walkman or something.
Like the old guy.
Even for my car, I mean, I've always had a jumper box in my vehicle. I mean, I had jumper cables, but I had the jumper box as well to get myself out of a bind. And I always had the Motor Master Canadian Tire Special that had the lead acid in it. And then I made the purchase. I made the purchase last year, and I went to a NOCO, which has the lithium in it. And it's just unreal. It weighs 1/5 of what the old one does. And it's got way more juice in it too. So,
and you can toss it in the glove box.
Yeah,
I've had 3 of those Motor Master Eliminator power box jumper things, whatever. And then my father-in-law got me one of the NOCO ones on a deal at Canadian Tire at some point, and love the fact that you've got the USB port on it. It's no, this one wasn't magnetic, but it's got the flashlights to it, and you can jump your car with it. They went on sale again at Canadian Tire, I think a year and a half ago, not too far away from me, and I jumped and I bought 2 more of them. They were totally worth the wait.
Yep.
I think it was Scott who you said you could go and build your own power box. I built 3 of those as well with solar panels, but I had yet, Hughes, to find one that has the pass-through technology so I can charge and use at the same time. Love to know which one you got.
So I got the EcoFlow Delta, and that's the only one that I found that had the pass-through on it, which was one of the big features I wanted, because ultimately, I may not be able to charge it using a gas generator, but if I can, it's going to be a lot quicker than solar. So being able to charge charge a solar generator as well as use the devices at the same time is huge. And this one here, I did a quick review on my YouTube channel, but I mean, it's got six outlets on it. It's got USB-A, USB-C, and it can run all of those at the same time, which is I think the maximum output is something like 22 or 2300 watts. So it's equivalent to one of the Honda EU 2000 suitcase generators, right? And it's pretty incredible that it can do this off lithium batteries, right? And it can do it for quite a while as well. So
that's awesome. You want to throw a plug in for your YouTube channel? Go for it.
Yeah. I know what your YouTube channel is, so I'll hit up that later, and I'll review that. Well, view it and then be doing my own research to get one. That's awesome to have the pass through on it. That's wicked.
Yeah, and again, that's the only one that I found. I mean, this was back 2 months ago. I did look at Blue Yeti, Jackery, Goal Zero was another one, and I think they all had great features, but it really came down to the features that I needed and wanted. And for me, it was EcoFlow. Again, I'm not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it really just came down to the features that I wanted, and that was one of the big ones. So
yeah, I can see pass-through being really important.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll throw out a couple of the ideas here that Ian's tossed in the show notes. So he mentions Berkey water filters, which I'd say, those are probably about a medium range, depending on the ones you're looking to purchase. Night vision would just be fun. Who be kidding? Be great to have.
Agreed.
Yeah, the fun that could be had with that would be great. Mentions HF radio. Yeah, for sure that you can go down the rabbit hole, just like you can go down the rabbit hole with solar. You can go down one heck of a rabbit hole with HF radios. So Yeah, with
and especially if you've got a solar generator to power it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get a solar generator to power your HF radio, well, yeah, you're going down some rabbit holes. But yeah, you're usually looking 800 to 1500 for an HF radio, so it's definitely a bigger purchase. Extra chainsaw, because who couldn't use an extra chainsaw?
I do want to mention something on chainsaws.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've always been a proponent of, if it doesn't run on gas, you don't need it. But now my mindset is shifting, and I bought into the Dewalt tools. Some people buy into Milwaukee. Whatever you buy into, you're just going to stick to it, right? And I got a Dewalt chainsaw that runs off the 20 volts, and I kind of bought it not as a joke, but like just as for something to do, right? But having the ability to have, obviously, if you're going to be cutting, 2 or 3 cords of wood, you're going to be doing it with this thing. But for just around the house, you don't need to prime it. You don't need to start it. You don't need to deal with gas or anything. It's quick. It's there. It just works. And also in a situation where, again, you're probably not going to be cutting down a lot of wood, but if you just need to cut down some firewood or something, you can recharge a battery off your solar generator. So again, you don't need to rely on gas. You don't need to rely on gas for your generator. You don't need to rely on gas for your chainsaw. You can just use a saw. And believe it or not, it's actually really, really quiet. You don't need ear protection or anything. So yeah, if you're looking at getting a second chainsaw, if you're already bought into the Milwaukee tools or the Dewalt tools, this may be an option, because the tool itself without the batteries is pretty cheap. So if you've already got the batteries, it's actually a lot cheaper than a regular chainsaw. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, we got a couple to test in our department, and they conventional lumber. We put them through. I think we put it through about a 6-inch log without a whole lot of effort, and I think the only challenge we had was the chains were wearing out like a lot faster than we were expecting. But for light duty work, they're fantastic.
Well,
we've got a couple. We throw them in our snowmobile groomers in the winter for, you're out there, a trail in the middle of nowhere, and small tree fell down or something like that. Yeah, it's and they work really, really well.
Cool. He also mentions crypto or precious metals. So we've done a couple of previous episodes on those. So if you want to dive down that rabbit hole, there's another one for you. So now we've got solar. Yeah, we've got solar, we've got HF radios, and we've got crypto and precious metals. So you got a lot of rabbit holes to jump through if you're going to be covering off these lists as we go through them.
Is this basically a clip show? Is that what we're doing now?
Yeah, I think we're doing a clip show. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get my references for which episode to go back to, but yeah, this is definitely all things that we've covered in the past. Mentions bulk food, always something good as a prepper to spend some money on. So yeah, if you got some extra cash or you're saving up, bulk food for sure, something good to store away. Then it gets boring with like mortgage lump sums and RESPs, and yeah, get your pencil out and sharpen them. And why? Yeah, okay, they're important things too, of course. But yeah, that's a list from Ian. So some good rabbit holes.
I went in pretty generic here, like assuming top end, right? 5K buys you a lot of long-term food and fuel to rotate, although apparently not as much as it used to. 5K puts a down payment on some vacant property in the remote wilderness. Gives you somewhere to go if you really need it. Mm-hmm. And 5K will also put a fair bit of money into training for whatever's missing.
Ooh, that's a good point.
You can go you can do 2/3 of paramedic school with 5K. So there's a lot of there are a lot of options there, and I would say, training is one of those things where it's always an investment. It will always work out well for you in the end, and it's something that can't be taken away. You can also buy a lot of power tools for $5,000. Like a lot.
Quite a few batteries for that chainsaw.
Yeah, and a lot of batteries and a lot of chains. Yeah.
Or some training on how to use the tools.
Some training on how to use those tools. Absolutely. I would start by taking a look at what, not necessarily what things am I missing, but what skills am I missing, and see how far you can get with that sum of cash.
Well, it's really interesting how this topic started as medium-sized purchases. So just thinking like capital investment, that one-time thing. But looking at how everyone has spun it off differently, being training, being sort of bulk purchases so that you have, a side of beef in your freezer and you're rotating through, but all of a sudden you have a bigger pool that you're rotating through. So it's just interesting how everyone's kind of taken it and spun it in sort of very different directions with the same initial idea. I like that.
See, the training one is one I never really thought about, but thinking back when I started shooting Black Badge, one of the trainers said, I would rather see you buy a $500 Glock and invest $1,500 in training than buying a $2,000 SDI and $0 in training. That $1,500 in training is going to buy you, with him at least at a time, is $100 a night. So 15 sessions with somebody who's top ranked in Canada. And it's really going to go a very, very long way. And I remember going in there with, a SIG was around $1,000. I invested in some training. I thought it was a good shot, and I wasn't. I just wasn't at all. So, and that training went a long way to make that $1,000 handgun seem like a much, much better handgun. So that training piece is awesome. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. Nobody ever really thinks about that, but
whatever tool
Alan,
you have, if you don't know how to use it. Yeah. And I that applies to just about everything. I so in my day job, I recently had we had a piece of equipment leak hydraulic fluid all over the place, and we have spill kits throughout the building so that people can clean up after themselves. And a very well paid journeyman level tradesman, who is this particular person was actually a foreman, took the absorbent socks that come in those kits and ripped them apart to get at the material inside to sprinkle over the spill in the hopes of absorbing the material. So just because you're really good at one thing doesn't mean you're really good at something that is useful in an emergency. So that was a great moment. That was a great moment. I was proud of myself there, proud of my team. But it goes to show that there's no such thing as common sense. When emergencies happen, figuring it out isn't the right time isn't necessarily the right solution, and that's my story, and that's why I put training in there.
And I think too that, we always mention that practice makes perfect, but sometimes learning a new skill involves actually having to study to learn it from either a teacher or, watching YouTube videos. And some examples are shooting. You can practice as much as you want, but you can probably learn a lot from somebody who's really great at it. Another thing is skill like welding. You can give me a welder and I can try my best for days and days and days and not be able to do what I can after one day's training with an actual journeyman certified welder, right? So,
excellent example.
Yep.
Eric, can we put this comment about the batteries from Denny up on the screen here for a second?
Which one is it here?
It's the third from the bottom.
I've got Ryobi and they're pretty darn good.
Yeah. So
yep.
I'm going to shame both of you on this.
Why?
Ryobi has a lot of tools, but not one of them lasts any length of time. Every person I've ever seen that has Ryobi tools, they regret it instantly.
I've had my original set for over 6 years. It's still going strong.
Yeah, I've had mine about 7 or 8, and I beat the crowd out of it, and it's still going.
You guys, those are the two exceptions. I've seen way more of them get destroyed in days or weeks rather than.
If you're using them at a commercial level, yeah, I'd say so. But like as a prosumer kind of, I've been through a couple of generations of batteries, but
I know why mine and Brad's have survived. We took the training.
There you go.
I definitely agree with you, Alan, that if you were on a commercial site, I'd leave my Ryobi home every day and I'd go and get Milwaukee or what's the other one there? Makita?
Dewalt.
Or even Dewalt. Yeah. But for what I do at home with it, I take care of my stuff as best as I can. I just recently purchased a new grinder and a grease gun and a new reciprocating saw. 4 new 4-amp batteries, and I love my Ryobi because it's one battery for every single tool. I've actually been thinking about buying what Hughes did there, going and buying a battery operated chainsaw to have in my trailer for whatever is needed, and I'm totally going to go and get a Ryobi one.
I think too, like if you look at any job site, like, yeah, you'll see DeWalt, you'll see Milwaukee, but you see a lot of Hilti and Metabo and all that kind of stuff. Metabo, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But you're talking about, a Milwaukee recip saw is what, maybe $150 or $200, the cordless one, right? The Metabo one's going to be almost $800 or $900, right? So that's when you're getting to commercial industrial grade tools. I don't really think you can buy bad tools. I think even some of the Mastercraft and Craftsman, I think, are okay for home gamers, right? But it really comes down to how you treat your tools as well, I think. One thing I did hear a lot of good things about is the Rigid battery warranty. So Rigid is I believe is the house brand of Home Depot, and they have a lifetime warranty on their batteries. So my DeWalt batteries that I have, I've got some of the 20 volt, I've got some of the 60 volt. I think the warranty on them is only a year. So once they go, that's it. I've got to buy a new one. And for a lot of my tools, the batteries are more expensive than the tools themselves. But if you have Rigid, if a battery dies in 12 years, you bring it into Home Depot to give you a brand new one. So if that's a concern, that's something you'd look at. I don't know the quality of your tools, but
I have all Rigid tools now. I sold all my Milwaukees because I'm not on a construction site every day, and Rigid is every bit as good as my 10-year-old Milwaukee.
There you go. Yeah.
And I'm mostly teasing Denny. I just making fun of Ryobi.
But whatever you do, even if if you're into the wall tools, I'm not saying don't buy Ryobi, but I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Just stick to one and just stick. And you can find battery adapters on Amazon or eBay. Don't do it. Just don't do it. And also you can buy knockoff batteries on Amazon or eBay. Don't do that either. They've proven that they catch fire and they just don't have the quality control that the OEMs do, right? So just buy a couple of good batteries, and then you can buy the bare tools after that. So.
Yeah, I tend to buy the kits when they're on sale because they always come with a couple of batteries and a new charger, and you can never have too many of either, and it works well.
You can't.
But no, I was, like I said, I was mostly teasing. But it's if you're gonna spend some money on it, I would start at Rigid and go up. Yeah. But that's just my opinion, of course. Everyone else's mileage may vary.
We're just starting all kinds of rabbit holes tonight. Scott, you had some stuff.
It's how we're going to fill an hour out of this.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's totally all right.
So I was going to say, where budget allows, like Hughes, have a budget. Know what you want to get, have the money to get it. From my end of it, my number one priority thing is water. So I'm looking at, I either want to rewire my well pump so that I can hook the generator into it, or at least, if nothing else, get a hand pump on the well. Of course, you have to be careful about that. They're being outside in the winter. They could freeze. You've got to make sure you get one that's freeze protected, and they can be fairly expensive. But I've got a spare water pump, and it's got a plug on it. So I want to be able to have a plug on my other one. I was without power last week for 9 hours, and I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I certainly wasn't running out of water or anything like that, but it really got me thinking, yeah, I've got water, but it would really be nice to be able to pressurize it and, for things like the toilet and that kind of stuff. And so, obviously the next big rabbit hole is ham radio stuff. I want to get a rig for the truck. That's the first thing. And then we'll go from there. Me and Eric went down to Barrie today to a little ham fest sort of thing they had going on down there. I'm not going to say there was a lot of great stuff. There was lots of stuff there. I think it was more junk that people wanted to get rid of. They didn't want anymore for the vast part of it. Some of it was really good. It was interesting to see what they had. I wasn't really looking to buy anything, just kind of see what they had.
Yeah, it was a big trunk sale kind of
pressure
idea.
Canner. Sorry, Eric.
It was a big trunk sale kind of idea. So just whoever wants to come and sell stuff out of the back of their trunk, come and park in the Legion and sell what you got. But yeah, it was kind of neat. That
was all right. I want to get a pressure canner. That's on my list. and of course all the related stuff, so jars and lids and whatever. I'm sure it works, and I know it's great. I still struggle with the idea of putting chicken or some kind of a meat in a bottle or the jar and pressure canning it and going 5 years later to eat it and not thinking it's going to kill me. But
A little botulism can't hurt anyone, right?
No, they'll just clear you right out. You'll be fine.
Oh, definitely will.
Yeah.
I also want to get some batteries for my solar backup. The ones I had have gone over the Rainbow Bridge, so I'm looking at something new. I like that idea that Hughes had. I'm going to be certainly looking into that, and just have a Berkey water system, just be able to purify the water as well. Something happens. So those are the kind of the big things on my list, and I think we're good. I'm good to go from there. That'll keep me for a while. So
I agree with you, Jeff. I had pressure canning stuff on my list also. And interestingly, my local Canadian Tire has a limit of 2 cases of bottles because they're having supply issues. So I'm like, that's... So, if every trip you pick up 1 or 2, maybe it doesn't quite fall within the range of the episode, but I see value in having the ability to store food long term.
Yeah,
hopefully it won't kill you in 5 years.
I mean, if you have a big harvest from your garden, just pickle it. Just, you can do pickled beans, pickled asparagus, pickled anything, right? So it's a good way to preserve that stuff. Just can it, and
yeah, you could do that. Or one of the Facebook groups me and Eric are on, the guy put a video on from somebody, and they freeze dry, or not freeze dry, they dehydrate their food and then they powder it, and they put, so they can, in one jar of, say, powdered tomatoes, one jar is equivalent to like 8 of the other, if you wanted to make tomato paste or do something. And they said, you know what, you just do it a 1-for-1 or a 3-for-1, depending on how thick or thin you want your tomato paste. You just mix it up again with water, and there you go, and you don't have to worry about it.
That's a really good idea too. No judgment, but I follow this group of hikers on TikTok, and it's a couple, and they basically do these very long trips. Like they basically hike it from Mexico to Canada, and now they're doing like a California at the East Coast thing. And they put a lot of work ahead of time in dehydrating their foods in order to basically just reheat them with hot water on the trail. So the ideas that they have are just incredible as to what you can actually dehydrate, and the amount of weight that they reduce by removing all the water from those meals. And they can carry on their backs almost 2 months worth of food just by dehydrating it. It's unreal. So yeah.
Wow.
2 months. Whew.
And it's all, I mean, they are limiting their calorie intake. But the sheer fact that they can carry, it's 8 weeks of food on their backs. And as long as they have access to a source of water, they can boil the water, they can heat the water. You have hygiene, you have your meals, you have your drinking water, you have everything, right? So yeah.
Wow. I'm still judging you for being on TikTok.
I am as well.
I figured. It's all right.
Oh, you young whippersnappers.
Mindless entertainment.
We're going to have to figure out a way how to stream the show to TikTok now.
I'm
In
pretty
30
sure
seconds
you can figure that out.
Yeah.
30 seconds at a time. Yep.
Yep, you got it.
I love when the Canadian Tire flyer comes. I love seeing what's on sale there. Princess Auto, just to slowly build up my prepper stock. Sort of when I can wander in on a Tuesday and buy something before it's wildly popular and in crazy demand after whatever big thing has created a lousy environment for shopping. So, we've talked about power, be it generators, solar panels, power inverters, or a wind turbine was something that I'd sort of mused about. Mm-hmm. And I already have it, but I think a Generlink generator hookup was actually a fantastic investment, so that I can power my entire electrical box and just choose what I want to power by flipping circuit breakers rather than sort of running extension cords through the house or having to rewire it and be limited to which circuits I can use. So one thing that I also chose for this list was a bunch of chicken wire. In the event that sort of my garden is incredibly important to providing calories to my family, I want to provide it to my family and not the local wildlife. So investing in some chicken wire now, I think, makes a whole lot of sense. Sort of having some frozen seeds, some sort of the ability to expand that garden if we're in a pinch.
Chicken wire and T-bar posts.
Yeah, well, exactly. Freeze-dried food, I know no one really likes, but with that crazy long shelf life, it's that safety buffer so that, if things go horribly awry and it's not a growing season, or if it's a situation where you have to hunker down and you don't have an option of going out and gardening and that kind of thing, sort of having that just as a safety buffer to me makes a whole lot of sense. I love my Gravity Works water filter. I think sort of having an extra one of those is a fantastic idea. If I have to be drinking surface water, at least I'll know it's safe to drink. And if I need a spare well pump to make sure my well is running, it's probably a couple of $100 well invested. Sorry, no pun intended. And one of the things that was sort of the initial idea for this topic was an extra wood stove. Depending on how your house is set up, what your arrangement is, whether installing a wood stove after the fact, because there's no more electricity, there's no more natural gas service, but you got, presumably you have access to firewood. So, having a wood stove, I would love a wood cook stove. And then, some of the extra chimney pieces so that you can install it. Maybe it's not officially wet certified, but I think if it's in one of the situations we're describing, kind of makes sense. Going back to one of our seasonal episodes, or sticking with the whole clip issue, I think having extra installation supplies, be it vapor barrier, window, the shrink wrap kits, that kind of thing, so that if you do have to cordon off areas of the house because you can only sort of heat a small area efficiently, sort of investing that ahead of time makes sense. A roll of vapor barrier is going to go a long way. I like EMP protection for my vehicles. Who knows how well or poorly it's going to work, but if you look at it as a little bit of investment in sort of an insurance policy, to me, it kind of makes sense. It's not a huge investment. I would love a 1960s or 70s pickup truck that's carbureted, can run on any fuel. But in the meantime, it's probably a whole lot more practical to just wire in one of these protection devices. So
just get the Model T that you learned to drive on, Scott.
Obviously, it was available in black or black. That's the any color you want as long as it's black.
Yep.
I'm also big on having a couple of extra pairs of shoes around. Sort of good walking shoes. If we're in a situation where fuel is scarce, vehicles are hard to come by, and walking is an important part of our transportation, having a well-fitted pair of shoes that, if you burn through your first pair, when we look at crazy people who walk across the country, having a good pair of shoes makes a lot of sense. And or if human-powered transport, bicycle and those spare parts. So
I absolutely second another good pair of shoes. Like I've got 2 pairs of work boots that are exactly identical, except one's about 6 months older than the other, and they are worth their weight in gold every day.
Oh, absolutely. And especially, if you're wearing steel toe and you have two pairs and you can alternate them day for day, so they have a chance to dry out. They're so much better and they last so much longer that way. So, Alan, you have talked about how boredom kills.
Yes.
So I think having some entertainment is a good investment. So I think, a little video projector where you can play a movie for a group, plan on something that you can run off your solar generator or just, alligator clamp to a car battery and sort of keep people entertained and make an evening of it. I'm quite excited about trying to do that this summer in our backyard. Have a little outdoor movie night for, play some cartoons for the kids and stuff. I think that'll be, I think that's a great idea. So
if I can touch on that as well, I think from a prepping perspective, one of the things that I've done is made sure that I have things to entertain my kids. I mean, my kids are 3, 6, and 8. They're not, if we're in a situation where, we need to do adult things, they're not going to understand and they're going to need to be entertained. And maybe mom and dad can't entertain them. So, whether it be tablets or coloring books or anything that they can entertain themselves with, I think is a big deal, right? So having that ability to charge those electronic devices, having the ability to have hours and hours of mindless entertainment for them would be enough of a distraction for us to do what we need to do. So I think that's an important part of it as well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Something to mention there, the projectors that you can get nowadays, they'll take a USB stick or the memory cards for your phone. You can download a ton of movies onto them, or songs, or music videos, or even YouTube stuff, whatnot. You only need one machine to do it all, not a computer or a phone and the projector to go with it. And like you were saying, Hughes, run it off your solar generator. You're not wasting any fuel.
Yep.
Everybody's happy. Most of those things are Bluetooth, so you get a Bluetooth headset for the kids and pair one or two of them, and you're running silently with a movie in the background nobody knows is running.
And I mean, you could still buy $2,000 or $3,000 projectors, but there's some on Amazon now. Like we bought one for a camper that was $150, I think. It's not the brightest, but I mean, it's we shoot it on the side of our travel trailer with a white bed sheet, and it works fine. I mean, it's got an LED lamp in it, so it's gonna. I mean, we're gonna throw this thing out before the LED lamp ever dies, hopefully. But I mean, for $150, it's a pretty good deal. And yeah, it's the same thing. It's got HDMI input. It has USB input. So same thing. Just put the supported file format files on the USB stick, and away you go. That's it.
That just sounds like a lot of fun. Who cares if it's on a bed sheet? You're not. That's part of the fun.
Yeah. It's rustic in a trailer.
We went camping 2 years ago in our backyard, and I had a projector from my parents' place from their business, and a bunch of cardboard boxes, and had 5 or 6 of the neighborhood kids make a car. And one of the mothers brought out some cardboard food trays and hooked it to the side of the car, and the kids thought they were a drive-in movie, and they absolutely loved it. It was such a good time to see all these kids sitting in their little cars watching a movie on a big white screen, and oh yeah, they were having a ball.
That's awesome. I hadn't thought about the bulk consumables aspect, but I mean, as I alluded to earlier, it's interesting how different people have kind of spun this topic. So in one conversation with a good friend about tonight, those bulk consumables, a side of beef, or 2 years worth of birth control pills, or whatever other medication you need to stay on, or fuel.
600 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah. So you have that, exactly. You have that larger stock to draw from, and you continue rotating your in and out. So, every month you use a pack of toilet paper, you add a pack of toilet paper, but you have that larger capacity, so that if all of a sudden someone snaps their fingers and modern society stops, we have, we sort of have that bigger pool to draw from. So there was one more thing I was going to mention, but I can't remember what it was. So I'll leave it to you guys, and we'll think of it. It'll come to you. Don't worry.
Nobody believes you, Scott.
No.
Carbon monoxide detector. That's it. Carbon monoxide detector.
I was going to say wood gasifier.
Oh, wow. It's opposite day today.
You can buy so many carbon monoxide detectors and fire extinguishers with $5,000.
Oh my god!
Like so many.
I think that's a new record. We're like 54 minutes in.
54 and a half minutes, I think it was.
Yeah, that is a new.
Where's Kyle? We're missing our stats, man.
He's already fallen asleep.
Yeah, he left a while ago. He's like, "Yeah, it ain't happening tonight. I'm going home." Yeah.
So when this topic was put out there, I don't think the show notes were really out yet, and I started thinking of under about $700 or so, and then somebody added it into the show notes $100 to $5,000, and I was like, well, I've already got some stuff down, so I'm just going to keep it. But I put down if a budget again would allow it, a Berkey water filter system, because those things are awesome, and I can't wait to set mine up, which I haven't yet. A water bob for extra storage of water, so that you can filter it through your Berkey. Find some pallets, old pallets. Everybody's got them. Cut them up for kindling for your wood stoves for Jeff's house. Camping coolers.
Well played.
Yeah, camping coolers, right? Because your power is going to run out at some point. So get some camping coolers and some bags of ice and throw everything you can from your fridge into it to make it last a little longer. Something that my parents just found out when they moved from their farm to a town. They had only recently got a water softener in, and a lot of people forget the salt.
Huh?
Yep. My water softener here is it's a year and a half old, and over the course of 1 year, I ran through 14 bags of salt. So in the basement now, I have 7 bags of extra salt, and I make sure I have 3 regular bags on hand. So I run through those, no problem. If something happens, I still have 7 bags. And if something else happens, I don't make it to the store, family emergency comes up in the middle of the day and I've got to run somewhere else instead of go get groceries, I have the salt at home. And you can use that stuff for lots of different stuff. You can use it for traction. You can use it to melt the ice on your driveway or on the road, get things unfrozen. It's salt. Use it as salt. I do like, Jeff, your comment there, the extra or spare sump pump. Managed to pick myself up one of those. Quality extension cords. I know, Eric, you and Scott have both said about the Generac system on your home. I think, Eric, you have a standby.
Yep.
I have the Reliance system. I have the Reliance it's through the wall system. Hook your generator up outside, plug 6 cords on inside. But that's what I've got. I've had it for a couple of years, and it works great.
Yeah, that's high on my list.
There, I have yet to put mine in, but I knew I was doing the outside renovations this year, so I decided to wait until they're done and then install it. But I've seen other people with them, and they agree with the purchase as well. That's a really good thing to have. So I'm itching to get everything done so I can install it and test it, make sure it works. But medium-sized preps, buy good quality extension cords, something that's not going to get really hot running from one end of the house to the other to run a sump pump.
Yep,
it's a good point.
And the beauty with those, they call them a through-the-wall kit, is basically you're not propping your door open and running 3 or 4 extension cords through a propped open door at the middle of the night when it's minus 30. You just, I mean, it's you plug the cord into the power box on the outside and plug all your cords on the inside, and you're nice and toasty warm.
And if you put it through the wall at a good spot, inconspicuous spot, when you leave or if you sell your house, you can take it with you. Put it on your next house.
Good point.
Extra shingles or tarps for your roof, should something happen. Plywood for the doors and windows, again, should something happen.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I agree with you, Scott, to get the
$5K on that.
The window kits. What's that?
You can spend $5K on plywood without any effort.
Oh, hell yeah. I did a delivery the other day, 15 sheets of plywood, 1/2 inch, good both sides, was $110 each.
That's painful. Those were $35 2 years ago. $35
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah, I know. I've done lots of lumber deliveries, and I've seen the lumber prices go up like crazy, and I'm just in the middle of renovations. But driveway salt or more water softener salt. I did put in here, just about everybody else put it in here, a set of handheld radios, hams or otherwise, just for communication with down the road, around the corner, as far as you can get with it. Fuel cans, jerry cans. You can buy 2 for under $30 at Costco, and they're 20 liter. I want to say Reliance ones, but I'm not sure.
I think it's Scepter.
Scepter, that's the ones.
Yes.
That's the ones. I've got 6 of them in my shed right now. They're great. Canning supplies and/or equipment. Cans of sterno gel. The small gel that goes under the sterno pots on a buffet table. Canned heat, some people refer to them as. But get gel. Even if the can opens, it's not going to spill everywhere and contaminate everything. And you can scoop them out and lay them, spread a layer on a wet log and light it. It'll eventually start burning the log. Or a small scale hydroponic system. Start growing some stuff inside like Jeff's done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I had.
Awesome. Cool. I like it. Anybody got anything else to add to the list? All right. Silence from the panel. Let's move into the podcast challenge, shall we? So, podcast challenge for this week. Don't waste your cash on stuff like RRSPs, education, or paying the mortgage. Come on. Who does that? Just buy gun.
You don't need that.
That's Ian talking. But seriously, go out, make a list, and start putting together some medium-sized purchases that you think could be useful for your preparedness and what fits in with what it is that you're preparing for.
Lots of guns and ammo.
And if you're Ian, lots of guns and ammo.
I hear CGN's a good place to do that.
Yes, I do hear CGN. Yeah.
CGN.
Did it work? Is he here? No. Well.
You have to say it 3 times in your mirror with the lights off.
All right, let's move into upcoming events, shall we? You want to run with Maple Seed?
Yeah, Maple Seed events are coming up. They pop up everywhere across the country. It is a great way to go out and learn the fundamentals of shooting. And if you would like to go learn about that, mapleseedrifleman.com/events. Find one near you.
Awesome.
Also coming up, I don't even know what that is, so maybe somebody else can run with it.
I was honestly going to skip over it because I don't know what it is either.
All right. So somebody put a thing in here, and we don't know what it is, so
March?
it'll be in the show notes.
Ruzel March?
Okay. Go for it.
The
That's
Ruzel
other
March
CPP's,
is the Finnish
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a rucking march, or like a rucking challenge march. I did some of it last year with Pierre from the other CPP. They have a 4-day march, and I guess it's in May this year. I don't know if it's every year that time. 10 to 40 kilometers every day, if you like, for 4 days. See how far you can get. I did 10 kilometers with Pierre last year. That was our first year doing it. It wasn't that bad. Weighted if you want. You can sign up at Ruzel 4-Day March. I'm assuming that's the link there in the show notes.
Yep.
I think it was the Finns who started it, the Finnish army who started it, or the reserve army who started it. And now it went worldwide. And last year, I think it was the Canadian Patriot Podcast placed 2nd overall internationally for their group march.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the annual Preppers Meet is going on in Desborough, Ontario, July 7th to the 10th.
Can we
So
call
if
it
you check
annual
out-
if it didn't happen in the last 2 years?
A lot of places can't call themselves annual for the last 2 years, I suppose.
The last 2 years don't count.
No,
That was the
last
hiccup.
2 years has never happened. Yeah. So we'll call it the annual minus the last 2 years prepper meet. Still in Desborough, Ontario, July the 7th to the 10th. Check out annualpreppersmeet.com. If you're on the Book of Faces, they're on there as well. So check it out and come on out for a weekend of fun and knowledge sharing.
Before we get too far, I just want to point out a couple of the comments from the feed. Freya has a bunch of great ideas. I believe she has some livestock, so all of a sudden thinking about chlorine water containers, extra buckets for animal feed or water, sort of their requirements. So yeah, that's, again, looking at your own needs. What's a good investment to look after yourself and your situation? So kudos to Freya.
Just want to mention to Freya as well, I saw your comment about who are the hikers on TikTok, and the account is actually called Through Hikers, THRU Hikers as one word. And they make some great content on there about dehydrating food and whatnot.
Still not judging about TikTok, by the way.
I am.
Yeah, and one that I
Have you downloaded the app yet, Eric? Or are you using it yet?
No.
yeah, for Freya, the one I mentioned about the YouTube one, her name is Jill Winger, Winger, and it's Old Fashioned on Purpose. Is her on YouTube, and she's the one that I've been looking at about doing the powdered stuff.
No TikTok for you, Jeff?
No TikTok.
Not yet.
But
Free
TikTok.
makes a good point there. Free makes a good point about all that stuff for feed and for livestock and whatnot, and it also goes for all your own pets as well. The stock up on their food and meds and equipment, supplies, and everything you need. And that's one of those things for boredom and psychological. If your kids are happy with the cat now, well, they're still going to be happy with the cat in the emergency. And if you don't have enough food for them, well, egg rolls tomorrow night.
Oh boy. Shall we move into the deal of the week with that? It's not an egg rolls, is it?
No. So if you go to Canadian Tire, they have meteor protection trampolines on sale this week.
I was trying to understand how
Well
a
done.
trampoline fits in the prepping, but yeah. All right.
It's to protect you from the falling space debris.
Yes,
Exactly.
we learned this a few episodes ago.
Incidentally, further in the flyer, they also have a 100-watt solar panel with a stand and charge controller. That's about $100 off. So normally $279 on for $179.99. And considering how all of us seem to have added solar panels and solar generators to our lists, it seemed appropriate.
I like it. You can power your
Absolutely.
things while bouncing the meteors away.
Safety first.
Safety first. Very important. Don't forget to wear your helmet. All right. Shout outs. Anybody? All right. Well, we'll move into
Okay.
email and iTunes reviews then. So we've got an email here from Aaron, and it says, hello, we love your podcast and learn a ton. Thanks for the laughs as well along the way. Sure, she's probably referencing the whole meteor trampoline thing. So inspired by you, we just passed our basic with honors ham exam and are now looking forward to some handhelds. So congratulations.
Hey.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Well
I know
done.
where you can get some.
Good job.
Yeah, might know.
RapidSurvival.com.
There you go. We're curious if you have heard of these for EMP proofing a car. Seems super easy. It's and there's a link to empshield.com. Thanks for any insight you may have, and it's signed off Aaron. So myself, I've not heard of them, but anything's better than nothing, I would suppose. Anybody else heard of them?
I've heard of them. I mean, at the end of the day, the honest truth is, you never know if something's going to work until the EMP thing happens. So, I don't know. We'd have to see. I mean, like you
it
say,
says military
something's better
certified.
than nothing, but who knows?
Well, if it's military certified, then
It says military certified, which means it's probably garbage.
They must be telling the truth.
I, based on this email, crawled around their website looking at the products and what they had, and looking at the military standards that they were sort of trying to accomplish. And it looks, to me, it looks legit. I have some EMP stuff in my vehicle that we got from through Arthur Bradley's website. Easy enough to install, and the science behind it seems to make sense. If there's somewhere for that current to go, that's it means it's not frying your little circuit board. So that's the idea. Looking at these guys, I was interested in the whole house stuff, and their product, it seems like they've put the effort into having it developed and tested in some of these labs. So I can't vouch for them, but to me it looks legit, and especially based on tonight's subject matter, if this is one of those medium-sized investments, you're spending a couple $100 on a product like this, but it's that insurance policy. I don't think it could hurt my house, so I don't think it's a bad idea.
Unless it's listening to you.
I carry my phone around. I know it's already listening to me. Like this Nokia flip phone, it's going to do something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to text in T9.
Oh, this is the generation before T9. It's fine.
Oh, wow. You're going old school. Gotcha. Smoke signals. Great. Awesome. Well, with that, I will bring episode number 158 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, or, of course, your favorite podcast app. Help us out. Submit a review. It does help other people find us.
And we do record these shows live on Facebook and YouTube. If you want an early peek at the shows, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Canadian Prepper Podcast, and click the notifications tab. That gives you an alert when we're going live. If you want to reach me directly, you can get me at Alan, that's with one L, at prepperpodcast.ca.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. For me, you can reach me at hughes@sigmaranch.com. I also have my own YouTube channel. Just search Sigma Ranch on YouTube.
And you can just reach me at feedback@theprepperpodcast.ca.
For Scott, email to feedback sounds great, or Bitcoin into my wallet. Feel free. Thanks, Elon. Appreciate it, buddy.
see last week's episode for his Bitcoin wallet address.
And you can find most of us at some point or another on the Discord channel.
Yep.
Link for which is in the show notes.
Absolutely. You can reach me at batbradcpp@gmail.com if you so need to.
All right, then please check out Rapid Survival, rapidsurvival.com. You can get me there on the live chat. You can also email me at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. Thanks for joining us this evening, and until next time, be prepared, stay safe,
and keep learning.